Thursday morning that will forever be engraved on the minds of South Africans. On this day, firefighters had their hands full, battling a blaze that burnt 3 stories of the 5-story building. As the fire raged on, some managed to escape by jumping out of windows in a desperate attempt to escape the blaze, but others remained trapped inside the burning building.
We are back, as it was promised by our chief, that we will be coming back today together with the South African Police K9 unit to try and sweep the whole building. That's it happened already. The K9, they went in already, they're done. So we've got our crews who went in there. So just to sweep from floor 1 to floor number 5, just to make sure that it's clear. After that, we'll be handing over to South African Police Service for conduct their further investigations.
The deceased were laid on the side of the road next to the burning building, while some family members cried out for help as they continued to search for their missing loved ones.
I'm looking for my daughter. She stays in this building.
What have you been told so far?
No, I met some of the people that says she was in the building.
Hospital.
But then everybody was running for their lives.
Some of those who were lucky to make it out with their lives slept outside the building with nowhere to call home. Those who feared deportation refused to go to homeless shelters provided by local government.
A moment that was emotional to many of us. It was indeed a moment of sadness. When you have to walk through the street and you witness the tragedy of people having lost their lives in such large numbers.
Representatives from different political parties visited the scene. Some lashed out at human rights organizations for taking the City of Johannesburg to court when inhabitable buildings are evacuated. But the South African Human Rights Commission in Gauteng challenged government to change laws concerning evictions.
If we think about why that law was put in place, we go back to apartheid, where people or a landowner would wake up in the morning and arbitrarily evict people, and that is the purpose of PI. And all we are saying as the Human Rights Commission is that when cities make bylaws, that they comply with national legislation, and this is the same legislation which is made by parties sitting in parliament. And until such a time that they're saying that this law is no longer working, then they know what needs to be done in order for that law to be removed.
President Cyril Ramaphosa also visited the scene of the fire and described the incident as a tragedy.
There are restrictions, impediments that stand in the way. For instance, when it comes to accommodation like this, when a building is condemned and when we can find alternative accommodation, we go through too many processes, too many regulatory impediments that then can lead to this type of situation. And so Parliament needs to look at this.
Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi subsequently appointed Judge Sisi Kampempe to chair a commission of inquiry to probe the circumstances that led to the fire and the prevalence of abandoned and hijacked buildings in the inner city. The commission sat briefly before the proceedings were adjourned indefinitely and later reconvened. Balenhle Mthethwa, SABC News, Johannesburg.